Technical SEO. In this section, I'm going to cover HTTP versus HTTPS. I'm going to show you how you can set up a Google Search Console for your website. I'm going to show you how you can set up a Google Analytics account for your website. I'm going to cover what is a sitemap and show you exactly how to create one. I'm also going to cover duplicate content, 404 pages, and 301 redirects. I'm going to show you how you can diagnose your site for keyword cannibalization, which is a massive thing I see so many sites suffer from these days. And lastly, I'm going to explain what schema markup is and show you exactly how you can add it to your website in a live walkthrough. So let's get straight into this section. HTTP versus HTTPS. HTTPS was traditionally used to protect high sensitive information, such as online payment, since it was conceived over 20 years ago by Netscape for the Netscape navigation web browser. In recent history, however, it's been rolled out to almost all online platforms and has overtaken HTTP as the most common method of web-based data transfer. You'll know if your website is HTTPS protected, as you'll have the padlock symbol at the beginning of your URL in your browser, like shown in the image below. Web users may have noticed over the last few years that more and more websites are shifting from HTTP over to HTTPS. For those interested, HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and HTTPS stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. As you well might imagine, HTTPS has added an extra layer of security to web browsing than HTTP. The traditional HTTP method transmitted information as clear for all to see as if it was jotted down on a piece of paper. The new protocol uses secure socket layer, which in short is SSL, and transport layer security, which again in short is TSL, to encrypt any information being transmitted, meaning that it's relatively difficult, if not impossible, to read if and when intercepted. Any attackers hoping to get information from such data will instead be met with garbled letters and numbers. So what are the benefits of HTTPS over HTTP? As mentioned in the previous slide, using HTTP means that data is transmitted in plain text. This means that if someone was to intercept the data while it's in transit, known as a middle and the man attack, they would be able to see all of our data without putting any additional effort. HTTPS, meanwhile, uses public encryption keys via SSL, as we've just discussed. Here's an example to further reinforce the difference between them. When using HTTP to send a message such as hello world, the attacker would see exactly that, hello world, plus some additional information about the server and when the text was created and so on and so on. However, with HTTPS, the attacker would see something like this, a big wall of garbled letters and numbers. So as you can see, it's a lot harder to encrypt and figure out what the message actually said. Additionally, in order for a website to have an SSL certificate that enables it to use HTTPS, the domain must be verified to check that it belongs to the website owner. How to switch from HTTP to HTTPS? If you're not using HTTPS to secure your website, it's time to talk to your hosting company. Your hosting company should issue and install an SL certificate for you, redirecting the traffic from the HTTP to the HTTPS version with little effort. The only thing you need to do is get in touch with your hosting company and ask them to activate it for you. You definitely want to have a Google Search Console account set up for your website. If you're not sure what a Search Console is, it's essentially a platform that Google provides you with, and it allows you to see tons of information about your website, such as how the website is indexing in Google, how you can optimize the visibility of your website, and if you do have an issue with your website, Google will notify you through your Google Search Console account. So it's very important you do set up one. To set up an account, head over to Google and search for Search Console. You want to click the top result, wait for the page to load, and then click Start Now. Under the column that says domain, you want to input your domain name, so let's do that now. And then click Continue. Now what we need to do is to prove to Google we actually own this domain. So to do this, we need to sign into our domain name provider and create a TXT record with the below string. So a domain name provider is essentially the company you bought the domain name from. So I actually have domain names from Namecheap. So I'm going to head over to Namecheap right now. Once you've logged into Namecheap, you need to find a domain if you have multiple domains, that is. So I've found Level Finish already. Once you've found your domain, you need to click Advanced DNS and wait for the page to load. Once the page loads, you need to click this button right here, Add a New Record. We want to go for TXT record as per the instructions. For this column right here, for the host, we want to put in an @ and for the value, we want to copy the value that Google provides us with, which is this part right here. So let's click copy, go over to here and then paste For the last column, which is TTL, just leave it at automatic. And then lastly, make sure you click save, which for us is going to be the tick button. Once that's saved, we have now added this string to our DNS settings, and we have proved to Google we actually own this domain. However, it can take up to 24 hours for this information to propagate and for Google to be aware of this. So if you go back to Google and click verify straight away, it will not verify unless you're very, very lucky. You will have to wait up to 24 hours. So my advice is to come back the next day after 24 hours, click verify, and once you've done that, you would verify ownership of this domain. I've just come back a day later now. I'm going to click verify. And you'll see just like that, the property is now verified. And you can go to the property in your search console and then start to play with it. I wanted to highlight one super important thing that seems to be confusing a lot of people when it comes to Google Analytics. And that is that there are two different versions of Google Analytics. We have number one, the Universal Analytics, often referred to as GA3, GA standing for Google Analytics. And then we have the second version, which is a newer version, referred to as Google Analytics 4, or frequently known as GA4. Now, to confirm, Google Analytics 4 is not an upgrade to Universal Analytics. It's a completely different new version of Google Analytics, which works on different models of collecting data, and as a result, comes with a different set of reports. To give you an idea of what they both look like, you can see my lovely comparison right here. Apologies if it is a little bit too small and you can't exactly read what it says on the screenshot. I did try my best to get both of them fitted in onto one actual PowerPoint slide, but essentially at the top we have Universal Analytics, or GA3, and you can see it says reports on the left hand side. We've got real-time, audience, acquisition, behavior, conversions, and for Google Analytics 4, or GA4, you can see it says lifecycle instead of reports, and then under lifecycle you have acquisition, engagement, monetization, retention, then you've got user, then under user you have demographics, tech, and then under user you have another option for events, which under events become conversions and events again. So there are quite a few differences between Google Analytics 3 and Google Analytics 4. However, from the front end, when you look at it visually, it's not too dissimilar. The main difference comes in the backend as to how they actually collect data. So let me go through both of them so you get a good understanding of exactly how they both work. So this is the main difference between Google Analytics 3 and Google Analytics 4. So first up, Google Analytics 3, or Universal Analytics. This uses the measurement model, which is based on sessions and page views to track all of its data. As Google Analytics 3 uses a session-based model, the analytics collects and stores information, such as page views, events, and transactions, all as hits. Which is why in the past, you might have heard loads of people say, how many hits did your website get? Or my website got 500 hits. This is all because they're all using Google Analytics 3. The new version, Google Analytics 4, it works in a completely different way. Google Analytics 4 uses a model which is based on events and parameters. For example, in Google Analytics 4, even a page view is considered as an event. Essentially, Google Analytics 4 uses an event-based model to track all of its data, whereas Google Analytics 3 uses a session-based model to track its data. And as a result, the reports within each version are going to be different. So you might be wondering, well, why am I telling you all of this information? Well, it's all with good reason, which is any Google Analytics account that was made after October 2020, which is when Google Analytics 4 came out, will automatically be created on the newer Google Analytics 4 version. If you made a Google Analytics account before that, maybe you already had a website with Google Analytics on it for the last few years, then you will be using the older version, which is Universal Analytics or Google Analytics 3. If that is you, then I do not recommend that you completely disabandon it and use Google Analytics going forward, as Google Analytics 4 is still not a finished product and is missing a lot of key features that you're going to need. In fact, Google even state this themselves on the marketing platform blog. You can see it says, we know there are capabilities many marketers need before fully replacing the existing analytics setup. So we encourage you to create a new Google Analytics 4 property alongside your existing properties. And that's exactly what I recommend you do. Which, to confirm, is to set up a Google Analytics 4 property and let it run alongside the Universal Analytics. And then once Google has fully updated Google Analytics 4, you can then start to review the data and reports in that version instead. However, no one actually knows when Google is going to finish updating Google Analytics 4. It seems to be going on forever. However, instead of using a product which isn't 100% finished, you're far better off using one that has been around for a while and works like a charm. What's good to know is that when Google does update Google Analytics 4 to include all the features we need as marketers, I will be updating this course to reflect all those changes. However, long story short, for now, don't worry about Google Analytics 4. The same applies to anyone who created a Google Analytics account after October 2020. I also recommend that you set up a universal analytics property and simply track the data in both versions. I just wanted to make this video here to make things super clear from the start, as like I said, a lot of people tend to get confused over GA3 and GA4. So that is it for this one, and I'll see you in the next video. Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a Google Analytics account for your website. So first things first, what is a Google Analytics account? So a Google Analytics account is a platform that Google provides you with to give you tons of information about your website, such as how did this person find your website, how long did they spend on this website, how many people are landing on your website every single month, tons of valuable information. For these reasons, I highly recommend you do not skip this step. So this is the site we're going to be using throughout the video. It's called Level Finish. It's a flooring contracting website based in Richmond in the United States. So the first thing to do, head over to Google and type in Google Analytics sign up. You want to scroll down and click the top result here, which should just say Google Analytics. Give that a click and then wait for the page to load. You should see a page like this once you click that result from Google. The reason why I had to actually click create account is because this website already had an account created before. I just deleted it 10 minutes ago so I could make it again for this video. So just to confirm, once you click the results from Google, you should land on a page that looks like this about setting up an account for your Google Analytics. So the first thing to do is put in your account name. So your account name, typically I just put in the initials of my name. So my name is Joshua George. So I just put in JG. You want to scroll down and make sure all of these boxes are checked and then click next. What do you want to measure? So now we want to measure traffic on our website. So just make sure you have web selected at the top. Scroll down and then click next. It asks for your website name. So like I said earlier, my website name is called Level Finish. So I will just copy my website name and just paste it in there, Level Finish. The next thing it asks you for is your website URL. So you copy the whole thing from your browser and then go to the box and then paste it in. What you want to make sure you have is the right protocol. So it gives you two options, HTTP and HTTPS. So if you want to figure out what your website is, you can double click into it. I'll just show you if I refresh that. Because typically it shows you a result like this now in the browser, so you can't actually see. If you see a padlock, it means you're HTTPS and your website is secure. If you're still not sure, you can double click into it and it will expand the whole thing, which you can see the S is indeed there. So for me, I will click HTTPS. You can see the error message is still there. That is simply because I have included HTTPS and the forward slashes in the box here. So all I need to do is just delete them as well. Just make sure I don't delete the L from Level Finish. There you see the error message is now gone because I've removed that. There is a forward slash at the end of the URL. However, that is not an issue. So you can leave that there if it's there. So in my case, I will leave it there for ease. The next thing you need to do now is select the relevant industry category. So this is the category which is most similar to what your website is about. So as my site is about flooring and things to do within the home, I will click home and garden. However, if your website is about accounting, for example, you will then obviously click finance. So I'll click home and garden. The next thing it asks me for is a reporting time zone. So this is the time zone of the website. So the area I'm actually targeting. So as my website is obviously targeting Richmond, which is in the United States, I'm going to change United Kingdom to say United States. And then I'm going to click the correct time zone. So for me, it would be New York, as obviously Richmond is what I'm targeting, and it's on the East Coast near New York. Once you do that, you want to click create, and then click two boxes, one up here, just say you accept in data processing terms, and accept this one down here. Do read through these just to make sure you are happy to accept. However, if you don't accept, you can't actually create an account anyway. Click I accept once you've done that. That will now create you an account and give you a unique tracking ID. So this is a unique tracking ID. You can see it's 155375501. It begins with a UA, and you can see is actually also here a UA513. So essentially what you need to do now is add this code into the head section of your site. So you can see it says add to the head. So it doesn't matter which way you do it. I'm going to show you the easiest way, which is using the global site tag, which is all of this. So what you're going to do is head to your site and go to the dashboard. You're going to scroll down to plugins, hover over plugins, and then click add new. And we want to add a plugin to our site called insert headers and footers, like so. Once you type it in here, you don't need to click enter. It will refresh the results for you. So this is the plugin we need, insert headers and footers. It's by WP Beginner. You can see it's got 900,000 active installations. So let's click install now and then click activate, which means this plugin is now live on our site. So what we're going to do is add the code into the plugin's head section. So to get to that, you scroll down to settings, hover over that, and you'll see it's right here, insert headers and footers. So click that and that will bring up the header section and the footer section. So as the instructions tell us, we need to add it to the head section of the site. We simply select the whole thing, and do make sure you have all of the code because there is 2 parts to it. Just make sure you have the whole thing right there. Click Command C or Control C if you're on Windows. Go back to the plugin and then paste it in there and click save. Once you've done that, that is exactly how you add Google Analytics to your website, and that is the end of the video. What is an XML sitemap and why are they important for SEO? An XML sitemap is a file that lists out all of the URLs you have on your website. Having an XML sitemap makes it super easy for Google to view your website and get a quick and clear understanding of all of the pages you have on it. If you don't have a sitemap, Google will have to find the other pages for your internal links. As you can expect, that puts more pressure on you as you now have to ensure your internal linking game is absolutely perfect and that every page on your site is essentially linked to. Rather than worrying about this, we can simply create a sitemap and submit it to Google to let them know about all of the pages we have on our website. So this is the XML sitemap I have for Level Finish, one of my websites. You can see I have 2 sections, a post and a page. So if I go into the post, you will see it will literally list all the posts I have on my website, which just so happens to be all of my blog posts. I've got blog right here, blog again, all in the URL. So these are all of my blog posts. If I go back one and look at the pages, you can see it will literally list every single page I have on my website, such as my homepage, my about page, contacts, services, even got my gallery down here, and so on and so on. You can see I've got my post and my page sitemaps, and they both come under one sitemap index URL. So this is the main URL for my sitemap. So creating a sitemap is very simple. You can do it using Yoast SEO, which is a plugin I showed you on earlier on in the course. So this is the plugin, just to show you again if you have forgotten. Hopefully you haven't. Yoast SEO. So they have a section built into the plugin for sitemaps. To access the plugin, you simply need to go to SEO down here and then go to search appearance. So before you create your sitemap, you want to determine what you want in your sitemap. So I'm going to show you what I have in mind. So on the general tab, it's blank. If you go into content types, you can see you have a section all for your post right now. So currently I'm showing my post in the search results. I've clicked yes. I don't want the date to show in the snippet preview, so I've clicked hide, and I've clicked show for a Yoast SEO meta box. So this is what I have for my post. For pages, I have yes, hide and show again. For portfolio, I have no, hide and show. So I don't want to show my portfolio in the search results. I already have a page on my site talking about the images we do, which is our gallery. So there's no need to show my portfolio again. So I've clicked hide for that. However, you can customize this for you. If you want to show your portfolio in the search results, just simply click yes. So I'll show you what I have for slides. So this is my WordPress slider. So I don't want my slide showing in the search results. So again, I've clicked no. So I hope you get the idea of what I'm saying now. So team members, I've clicked no. I don't want that to be in my index or in my sitemap. Testimonials, I've clicked no as I already have them on the site on a page. So long as the page gets indexed, my testimonial will get indexed as well. So media is probably the most important one you need to pay attention to. You need to make sure yours is set to yes. If not, what happens is every image you have on your site will be on a different URL, and that will also be visible in your sitemap. As your images are already going to be on a page, you want to make sure the page is going to be in your sitemap and not an individual URL for that image. So media will be one of the most important things you need to pay attention to. So essentially you want to make sure this is set to yes, and as you'll see, it will redirect attachment URLs to the attachment itself. So essentially what this means is each image on your site won't have its own URL. It will simply be an image on a page. And as we know, our pages are going to get indexed and are going to be included in our sitemap we don't need to have this to no. So do make sure that is on yes. And if you go through the other headings on here, you can see I've got categories, no, tags, I have my no, and I have show. Format, I've got enabled, and I've got no here. Again, it all comes down to preference. Categories, so these are my projects. If I have like a different type of carpet, if I have hardwood, if I upload a whole category to my site as a project, I don't want them shown in the search results. They should just be visible on my site. So the last couple, archives, I've got mine enabled. Show author archives, I've got mine as no, as I don't want my author archive showing in the search results. And then if you go to breadcrumbs, I've got mine to disabled. So once you're happy and you're finished picking all the elements you want to appear in your sitemap, you need to scroll down to the Yoast SEO plugin and then click General. And then you want to go over to Features, and then where it says XML sitemaps, you want to click the question mark. And you'll see it gives you a link right here to see the XML sitemap for your site. So once you then get your XML sitemap URL, you simply want to go over to your Search Console. So let's copy this first. Go over to your Search Console. So this is what we set up in the first section of the course. And you want to go down to sitemaps down here on the left. And where it says enter sitemap URL, you simply want to paste in your sitemap URL and then click submit. So now I'm submitting my sitemap to Google, and as you can see, it's done successfully. So now Google is going to crawl my sitemap and have a look at all the pages I have on it. It makes it a lot easier when you have a new page on your site, as Google can just check out your sitemap and see what's there. And like I said, if not, you'll have to crawl each page individually, and they can only do that through using pages that have links on them internally. What is duplicate content? Hopefully you like my image of the twins on the right hand side, which resembles duplicate content. Duplicate content is content that appears on the internet in more than one place. That one place is defined as a location with a unique website URL. So if the same content appears at more than one web address, you've got duplicate content. This URL is typically going to be on your website, however it can be on an external website too. While not technically a penalty, duplicate content can still sometimes impact search engine rankings. When there are multiple pieces of similar content in more than one location on the internet, it can be quite difficult for Google to decide which version is more relevant to a search query. Why does duplicate content matter? For Google, duplicate content can present a couple of issues. Number one, they don't know which versions to include or exclude from the indexes. Number two, they don't know which versions to rank for the query results. As you'll see from the image below, when Google finds 4 pieces of content which are all very similar, it literally has no idea which one to give visibility. Typically, it would go with the content which is the best. However, as they're all the same, this isn't possible, resulting in 3 pages losing out on potential visibility and traffic. So now we understand why we shouldn't have duplicate content. It's time to go over to our browser and I'll show you a tool we can use to find all the duplicate content you have on your website. So this is the tool I recommend for checking your website for duplicate content. The website is called Siteliner, siteliner.com. You simply go over to the website and paste in your website URL. So for example of this video, I'm going to continue using my flooring contracting website, which is levelfinish.com, and simply click go. The tool is free. I think you can get 1 search a month. It won't cost you a penny. And then after that, it's 1 cent per scan. So super cheap if you do opt to go for the premium option. However, you're just fine to use the free version, which is exactly what I'm using in this video. So as you can see, you literally just paste in your website URL and it returns tons of information about your website. So the main thing we want to be looking at is this section right here, your duplicate content. They're giving me a score of 15%. So there is no magic number. However, I do try to stay under 15%. Anything above that does raise my eye a little bit. 15% I know it is a safe bet because I have 15% right now. Yet this site ranks extremely high for tons of keywords such as flooring contractor of Richmond, Virginia, which is just a keyword the site is targeting. You can see level finish is here in position 1 and I have 15% duplicate content. So this isn't an issue at all. You can actually scroll to the top and where it says right here, duplicate content, you can give that a click and it will show you all the pages which Siteliner deems to be duplicate. So we get all the URLs right here. So as you look carefully, you can see most of the URLs are actually my blog posts. So nothing really to worry about. I've got my blog post, I've got the article title, and I have the amount of words which match in each article as well. And then along with that, I have the match percentage. So as you can see, my blog post has a number 78 under match percentage. So that's a little bit high. However, as it's my general blog page, which is going to list out all of these articles, that's nothing to worry about. We also have page power in the last column, which basically represents how prominently that page is linked to from other prominent pages on your website. So this number is out of 100. So as you can see, typically what I do, I go through my match percentage right here. When I find an article which is really high, so maybe one like this, 27%, which again, that's actually my home page, so nothing to worry about there. Maybe we can look at this one, 21%, how to clean hardwood flooring. But even then, you know, the page power is only number 7, so nothing to worry about. So like I said, on the whole for me, 15% isn't actually that high. However, what you can do is come through here, and if you see large numbers, you can simply go into each piece of content and then de-optimize it to make it more unique, and so it doesn't flag up as duplicate content. So this is the site I recommend. SiteLiner, like I said, is completely free to do one scan in 30 days. The 404 page is a staple of the internet. A 404 page is also known as an error page or page not found. This page indicates that the user reached the domain they requested, but the URL path provided no information. So why are 404 pages bad for SEO? 404 pages are bad for 2 main reasons. Number 1, they result in a poor user experience. If someone searches for blue t-shirts and they find your website in the Google search results, they then click over to your website to only find that page is gone, well, let's face it, they're not going to be happy. Number 2, wasted link juice if popular. So if you had a popular piece of content on your website and it attracted tons of links, and then you go and delete that page, aka it's a 404 page, you're actually wasting all of that link juice you have to that web page. So as you already know from watching my internal linking video in the on-page SEO section of the course, link juice is a massive element and helps you rank in Google. If you find you have 404 pages on your website, which in the past were popular pieces of content, and as a result have a lot of backlinks, the best thing to do is to 301 redirect them to the most relevant page, which I'm going to show you how to do in the next video. But before that, let's head over to Google Search Console and I'll show you how you can find all your 404 pages in the first place. So as you can see, I'm on the Search Console for clickslice.co.uk, which is our agency site. So if you want to find all your 404 pages, you simply go to coverage under index and give this a click, and then scroll down, and as you will see, we have submitted URL seems to be a soft 404. So if you have any 404 pages, they're going to be listed here on the coverage tab under index. So as you can see, if we scroll down right here, Google has actually listed out the exact page which is a 404, which by the looks of it seems to be a checkout transaction failed page. So nothing too important. However, what I'm going to do is open this in a new tab and just look at the page just to make sure there's nothing I'm missing. And as you can see, this is a 404 page. Your transaction failed, please try again or contact the site support. So if this web page did actually have lots of backlinks going to it and it was a popular piece of content in the past, then what I'll do, I want to check out how many backlinks this page has, which I can easily do by copying it and going over to Ahrefs. However, as it's a page like this, checkout transaction failed, I already know this page has no backlinks and that it also has no SEO benefit. So as a result, there's not that much benefit of redirecting it in the first place. This page also wouldn't be a bad user experience as someone's not going to find this page in Google. However, on your website, if you find you have a 404 page which in the past was extremely popular and it does have loads of backlinks after checking it in Ahrefs, then you can simply move on to a 301 redirect, which I'm going to show you how to do in the next video. What is a 301 redirect? 301 redirects are pretty simple. They're used to redirect one web page to another, but understanding how they relate to SEO is more complicated. A 301 redirect indicates the permanent movement of a web page from one location to another. The 301 part refers to the HTTP status code of the redirected page. In simple terms, a 301 redirected tells the browser, hey, this page has moved permanently. Hey, this page has moved permanently. This is a new location and we don't intend on moving it back. To which the browser responds, sure thing, I'll send a user there right away. So when do we use 301 redirects? There's 2 main instances. The first is redirecting 404 pages. So as I just showed you in the last video, if you find you have any 404 pages on your website, which have loads of backlinks pointing to them, you're going to want to redirect them to another page. The second scenario is when you want to combine 2 pages into one, which you would typically do when you find you have 2 similar pieces of content on your website. Both pieces of content are going to be quite average. However, if you combine them into one piece of content, it's going to be amazing. So that is a potential scenario you could use for option 2. I call this the cocktail technique. Let's say you have a glass of Coke. Nice and tasty. And you also have a glass of rum. Both of these drinks are great in their own right. However, if we combine them, we can actually come up with rum and coke, which is even better. So how does this relate to 301 redirects? Think of both these drinks as topically related pages on your website. They each performing okay, they have a few decent backlinks, and they get some organic traffic. Not too bad at all. But why not merge these two pages into one and create something even better? In doing so, the chances that we could transform these two average performing pages into one amazing page is pretty high. So why does this work? It works for two reasons. The first is consolidation of authority. If both pages have 10 backlinks and then we redirect one of those pages to another, then guess what? We now have a page with 20 backlinks which has way more authority. The second is better content. By taking both our pages and then combining the content on both of them, we can be sure that our overall final page is going to have way better content than both separate pieces. So let's head over to our browser now and I'll show you exactly how you can set up a 301 redirect to consolidate two similar pages. So I'm now over here on my WordPress website and I'm going to show you how you can set up a 301 redirect. However, before I do that, I first need to find two similar pieces of content on my website where I can redirect one to the other. So to do so, it's very easy. Simply go over to Google and type in site, followed by your website URL. So for me, it's going to be clickslice.co.uk, space, and then what you want to do is enter a word that you write about a lot on your website. So for me, as ClickSlice is an SEO agency, I have a lot of blog posts on my website about backlinks. So what I'm going to do is do speech marks and then do backlinks, close speech mark and click search. So what this will do, Google is now going to return all the pages on my website which mentions the word backlinks. This is an extremely powerful method you can utilize to find all the similar pages on your website. You would obviously change out the website URL for your website URL and change out the word backlinks to whatever word you write about a lot on your website. So we can scroll down, we can see we have a page right here, which is a blog post. What are backlinks and how important are they? We've got link building service, which is one of our service pages. View our backlinks mentioned here in the title tag. We've got backlinks, quality or quantity. Let's open this one. Again, another blog. And we have another blog below it. How many backlinks should a website have? So quality or quantity is quite similar to how many backlinks you should have. So let's open these two and see if we can combine these. So this article talks about backlinks, quality or quantity. What are backlinks? What is a high quality backlink? Does it matter how many backlinks you have? And then in another article, we have how many backlinks should a website have. So as you can see, these pieces of content are very, very similar. This one is talking about how many backlinks a website should have. And in this article, it's saying how many backlinks should you have. So again, what we can do is combine both these pieces of content into one content where we cover every single thing to do with backlinks and how many you should have. So for the purpose of this video, let's just imagine I've already updated this piece of content to include everything it says on this page. So what I want to do now is 301 redirect this URL to this URL. So the way to do that is to simply go back to your WordPress dashboard, go to plugins, and then click add new, and then go over here and type in 301 redirect. And the plugin you want to install is going to be this one, 301 Redirects Easy Redirect Manager by Web Factory Limited. Let's click install and then click activate. And once that is activated, we can go over here, configure redirects for that plugin we just activated, configure redirects, and it will open a page that looks like this. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you have 301 selected from this drop down menu. Then you want to go into the page you want to redirect and copy the URL from the domain onwards. So as you can see, it's got clickslice.co.uk/blog, then it has URL. So I want to copy from this part onwards from my domain. It's very important as well, you don't copy the /, you only want the blog bit onwards. So copy that and then go back to here and paste that in. Do go to the front just to make sure you don't have the / in there. You don't need to add it as you already have it here, as you can see after the domain. So let's take out the /. The next thing to do is to pick the website you want that page to redirect to, which is going to be this one. So simply copy the whole URL, go back to here, where it says redirect to, ensure you have custom selected, and then paste the full URL, and then click save. And as you can see, that has now added a 301 redirect from this page to this page. So if I give this page a click, let's look at the URL before I give it a click. Blog, backlinks, quality or quantity. So if I give that a click, Watch the URL change. You can see it's changed to this new page now. So whenever someone visits this URL on Google, they're automatically going to be 301 redirected to the new page. So if I go in incognito and show you that now, you can see no matter what I type in, this URL is going to redirect to the other URL. So that is essentially how you set up a 301 redirect. Keyword cannibalization. Keyword cannibalization is when a single website unintentionally targets the same keyword across multiple pages. This is a little different from the last video where you have two pieces of similar content on your website and you want to combine them to make one superior piece of content. Keyword cannibalization is literally when you have two pages on your website competing for the same keyword. As a result, Google is not sure which one to rank. One day it could rank article 1 on page 1, and then the next day it can rank article 2 on page 1. What this results in is you seeing massive ranking fluctuations across both pages literally every day. When you spot this, you have two options. The first is to de-optimize one of those pages to stop it competing, and the second is to 301 redirect one of those pages to the other. However, before you can do any of this, we need to know how you can identify keyword cannibalization in the first place. So let's head over to SEMrush and I'll show you a live example of how you can spot keyword cannibalization and how you can fix it. So once you're on SEMrush, what you want to do is enter in your website URL. So for the purpose of this training video, I'm going to be using this website URL, which is called whitehartweddingvenue.co.uk. Just to confirm, this is not my website, I don't own it. It's just one I came across in my local area, as I actually live in Essex too. And as you can see, this website is also targeting Essex. So let's go ahead and paste in this website URL and click search. And then once the information has loaded, you want to go over to organic research on the left hand side. And then once all the data has loaded, you want to go over to positions. Now, one really important thing to know is because the website we are looking at is based in the UK, we know that because it ends in .co.uk, which is obviously United Kingdom, you want to go ahead and make sure you have the right database selected. At the moment, it has a US selected and there's currently 85 keywords that this website appears for in the United States. However, as we know the website is targeting the UK, we want to go ahead and make sure we have UK selected so we can see all 217 of those keywords. So once the information has loaded, we can see all of those keywords below here. However, spotting keyword cannibalization within SEMrush is a little bit difficult. So what we need to do is actually export all this data and review it in Excel. So let's go ahead and click export and then make sure we have all selected. And I'm going to go for Excel as a file format. So let's go ahead and open the file we've just downloaded. So once you open the file, it's going to look pretty similar to this. Again, we don't need all the information we have on it. All we need is the keyword, the position, the search volume, and the URL. So let's go ahead and delete the other column. So we'll delete column C. We do not need that in previous position. We don't need the keyword difficulty. That can go as well. We don't need the CPC, and every other column after the URL can also be deleted. So let's go ahead and delete those. Let's expand our keyword column a little bit. We have our position. Let's just make that all to the left. The same with the search volume, and we'll expand the box right here so we can see the full URL. So essentially, these are the 4 columns that we need. So once you've tidied up your spreadsheet, what you need to do is select the first column, which is going to be your keyword, and then filter that by A to Z or Z to A. It doesn't really matter. What this is going to do is going to sort all your keywords in alphabetical order. Now, when it comes to spotting keyword cannibalization, what we want to look for is multiple occurrences of the same keyword, like we have right here, your Essex wedding, and then we need to look for 2 different URLs that appear for the same keyword. So as you can see, we have the first one in row 2, your Essex wedding, and the URL which Google returns sometimes is whitehartweddingvenue.co.uk/Essex wedding barn. For the same keyword, Google also returns another URL, which is a minimalist chick wedding in Essex. So as you can see, we have the same keyword, but Google is returning 2 different URLs. So this is a prime example of keyword cannibalization. What's interesting to note as well is that the first keyword sometimes ranks in position 14 and the second keyword sometimes ranks in position 13. So by the looks of it, Google seems to favorite this URL just a tiny bit over this URL. However, what's even more important to note is that neither of these pages are on page 1 for this keyword. So what we can easily do to improve our SEO and to improve our visibility is to de-optimize one of these pages so we only have one page targeting this keyword. This is going to make it way much more clearer to Google which page is relevant for this keyword, and you're much more likely to get a higher ranking in Google and increase your visibility for this specific keyword. Now, when it comes to de-optimizing your page for a keyword, it's literally the opposite of what you do when you do on-page SEO. So you don't want to put your keyword in the title tag, you don't want to have your keyword in a URL, you don't want your keyword in the H1 tag, you don't want it in the H2 tag, and so on and so on. This way, you're going to make it super clear to Google what page is targeting what keyword. Now, we can also go through the other keywords and find more instances of this, and I've just found another 3 very easily. Row 33, 34 and 35, you can see the keyword is all the same, White Hart Great Yeldham Sunday Lunch, and Google is returning 3 different URLs. So for one search, it returns a barisserie menu, for another search, it returns a restaurant URL, and for another search, it returns a Sunday menu. Now, if you look at the keyword and the search intent behind the keyword, people are looking for White Hart Great Yeldham, so this is the name of the place, and they're looking for the Sunday lunch. So really and truly, this is the URL that Google should be showing. The one which is about the Sunday menu, which is going to contain details about the Sunday lunch. These other 2 URLs are irrelevant and is actually going to hinder the ranking of this page. And what's even more interesting to note is that if you look at the ranking position for this URL, you can see this is the one that has the highest ranking in Google. The other 2 URLs are ranking in position 2 and in position 3. So again, to get the highest position and to get the top spot in Google, they need to de-optimize these 2 pages, so this is the one that Google always returns to users. So that is essentially how you can diagnose your website for keyword cannibalization, and of course you can go ahead and fix that yourself just by de-optimizing the other pages. That's it for this one, and I'll see you in the next video. What is schema markup? Schema markup is code that you put on your website to help search engines return more informative results for users. If you've ever used rich snippets, you'll understand exactly what schema markup is all about. Here's an example of a local business that has schema markup on its events schedule page. As you can see, the schema markup told Google to display a schedule of upcoming hotel events. That for the user is extremely helpful. Here are some facts about schema. The first, schema tells search engines what your data means, not just what it says. Schema markup uses a unique semantic vocabulary in microdata format. You don't need to learn any new coding skills. Web pages with markup still use HTML. The only difference is adding bits of schema vocab to the HTML microdata. The third, schema.org, the website for schema markup, was created by a collaborative team from Google, Bing and Yahoo. It's not too often that competitors come together to help each other out, but schema.org is exactly that kind of inter-industry collaboration. As a result, what you have is an agreed upon set code markers that tell major search engines what to do with data they find on your website. Schema markup was invented for users. When a website has schema markup in place, users can see from the Google search results what a website is all about, where they are, what they do, how much the stuff costs, and so on and so on. This is a user-focused improvement. Search engines exist for users to gain information they need. Schema markup does exactly that. Schema markup types. There are hundreds of markup types you can use. To name a few, you have articles, local business schema markup, you have restaurant schema, TV episodes and rating schema, item reviews, movies, software applications, events, products, and many more. Now we know what schema is, let's head over to our WordPress dashboard and I'll show you a live walkthrough of exactly how you can implement schema on your WordPress website. So I'm now over on my WordPress site called Level Finish. So this is a site I showed you earlier on in the link building section of the course. So essentially, Level Finish is just a flooring contracting website, but that doesn't really matter. What I'm going to do is show you how to add schema to any WordPress website. So the first thing to do is to go into the backend of the WordPress website. So I'm now in the backend of Level Finish. You want to go to plugins and then add a plugin. So adding schema using a plugin makes the whole process so much easier for you. So once you're on the plugin page, simply search for schema. And then this is the plugin you want, Schema All-in-One Schema Rich Snippets. And it's by a company called Brainstorm Force. So let's install this plugin now. And then click Activate. And just like that, we now have the plugin on our website. However, it doesn't mean all our pages are going to have schema straight away. What we need to do is actually configure the schema and add it on each page individually. So we can go into the configuration just to see the types of schema we have. So we can pick from item review schema, events, person, product, recipe, software application, video, article, and service. So tons of different types of schema we can pick from. Article is typically the one most people use. So I'll show you how to use the article one now. So what you need to do is go over to your blog post. So I'll go to my post right here and simply pick any post at random that you want to add schema to. So I'm going to take this one. How do I clean and maintain my tile flooring? Let's click edit. And once the page is loaded, you can scroll down and there should be an option like so, configure rich snippet. So this is added because we now have the plugin on our WordPress website. So the first thing you want to do is determine what type of schema do you want. So let's click the drop down menu and then go for article. As I'm adding schema to this article, the next thing I need to do is simply fill in all the information. So article image. So let me scroll up to the article and see what image we are using. We've got this one, which is fine. Okay, I can add another one about cleaning tiles. So let's go to my media. I'll go for this one. That's cleaning tiles. That is fine. Insert into post. Article name. So I'm going to go to the top of my article name and copy this title tag right here. Scroll down and paste that in a short description. An article on how to clean and maintain your tile flooring. Like so. Author, that would be me, Joshua George. Publisher organization, so I'll put level finish. And the publisher logo, so I'll go upload file and I'll pick our level finish logo. Insert into post and then click update up here. So once you've added your schema, the next thing to do is to test your schema to make sure it's loading correctly. So to do so, simply copy your website URL and then go over to Google and type in Google Structured Data Testing Tool. You want to click the top result, which should be a result that looks like this. And essentially what you can do is plug in a URL and then Google is going to fetch that URL and then see what your schema looks like, along with telling you if you have any errors in that schema. So let's click run test. And as you can see, Google has detected 3 different types of schema. The first 2 are ones I've had on the site before as it's a local business. However, this is the one you need to pay attention to, the article schema, as this is the one we've just added. So as you can see, there is 0 errors and 0 warnings. We can actually click into this to expand it just to see the information in a bit more detail. And as you can see, we have the article title, we've got the headline, we have the description, we've got an image, we've got the person, the author, organization, and so on and so on. So as you can see in this scenario, we have now successfully added schema to one of our pages without no issues whatsoever. So you can simply replicate this and do it for your website too. When you do go over to your settings and you start creating your schema, if you want to do product review, then obviously you would go for item review at the top. If you have an event, you would click event and so on and so on. But essentially, this is how you add schema to your WordPress website.